All right, I am back for another collection update. We're going to do Vinegar Syndrome halfway to Black Friday sale in this video. If you're watching this video, when it comes out, just a really quick update. So I know I said this was going to be the summer of Stewart. I've only put one video out. It is now July, the very beginning of July, and still have only put one video out. The summer of Stewart is still on. There's been some distractions, some things going on, you know, in my personal life, and that have been sucking up some time and just haven't gotten to it. And I promise there's going to be at least 12 videos. I may be a little late on them. I'm also kind of going through a tiny bit of an existential crisis over the Twilight videos. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do those. But yeah, the summer of Stewart is still on. Anyway, okay. Vinegar Syndrome, halfway to Black Friday sale, one of two sales that they have per year. Technically 3 sales because they do a sale in February for their adult titles only. But you know, as far as general sales go, one of 2 every year. Because it's so rare versus, you know, Criterion's flash sales or Kino Lorber's sales, which Kino Lorber, God bless them, it feels like they have a sale like every other month. Because it's so rare, I do tend to go in a little bit more on these than I normally would on a sale. So this one is kind of packed a little bit more than usual. I feel like in the past I've usually bought a lot less, but there was a lot of stuff that was interesting to me. Some stuff that was kind of like on the verge of going away, and actually did go away after that sale. They sold out of all the copies, so some of the stuff is actually like no longer in print, and some of it was just stuff that I was really interested in for one reason or the other. So I picked it up. I'm going to start with partner label stuff first, and then we're going to go just into like regular Vinegar Syndrome stuff. So first up, I have 2 from Decanalog, which is a label that I had seen on the website before. And, you know, there was some stuff that seemed sort of mildly interesting to me, but had not picked up anything. And then I actually watched Brian with Just the Discs. He did an interview with Decanalog's founder, and it was a really great interview, and I kind of got sold on the idea of just going ahead and picking some of these up. So the first one is Keep an Eye Out. It's a film by Quentin Dupieux, who I have heard of, but I've never actually seen any of his films. He did kind of like a semi-famous cult film here in the States called Rubber, and I know a lot of people have seen that and love it. I have not seen it yet, but Keep an Eye Out came really highly suggested by Just the Discs, and I just wanted to check it out. The breakdown of it is, in Keep an Eye Out, a breakneck paced cop comedy that packs more laughs into its breezy runtime than some filmmakers manage in their entire careers. Belgian funny man Benoit Poelvoorde, I'm probably mispronouncing that, is Commissar Buron, a good bad cop interrogating Fugain, an average Joe who discovered a dead body outside his apartment building. French absurdist Quentin Dupieux's whip-smart script disregards audience expectations, the fourth wall, and the laws of time and space. You'll never look at an oyster the same way again. You know, that's the thing, is like, if you find people that you trust and they suggest something, then I feel like there's a pretty good chance that you're going to like it. And while I have disagreed with Brian on some things that he suggested, I've watched it and just kind of been like, not so much. I would say that like 60% at least, maybe even 70% of what he suggests I enjoy. So I decided to give Keep an Eye Out a try. And that's Decanalog's first release. I think they're up to like 4 or 5 at this point. And I also got their second one, which is Detention. This one was they also talked about in that interview. It sounded really interesting. It's based on a video game, which I've never played before. I don't really play video games that much. And, but when I saw the trailer for it, I was like, wow, this looks really interesting. It says, set during the Taiwanese martial law of the 1960s, this shockingly gruesome and terrifying coming-of-age drama based on a hugely popular video game sees two classmates who go looking for their missing friends and teachers, all of whom took part in an illegal book club, only to come face-to-face with ghosts and deformed monsters that have taken over their school. This masterful debut from director and co-writer John Su recalls the best of Guillermo del Toro with enough blood, striking sound design, art direction, and special effects to evoke Silent Hill and other landmarks of the genre. So I actually watched this the other day, and I would say that the latter part of that description is like spot on. You know, Guillermo del Toro is a great sort of like reference if you want to know like what you're kind of in for this. And Silent Hill would definitely be that first Silent Hill movie, not the second one, but that first Silent Hill movie would definitely be a reference that I would use if somebody wanted to know, well, like, what is this like? You know, there's a lot of like similar just sort of feeling to it, where there's like sort of a dream world or a parallel world or whatever. And it's like, I don't want to go too much into it. I may do a video on this because I really liked it. It's sort of like a half ghost story, half political historical drama. But I loved this. So really great. And I'm really happy that I picked it up. And this alone made me even more excited for Keep an Eye Out, and it makes me excited for some of the other Decantalog stuff, because I think they are possibly going to be a label that's going to be doing a great job for like sort of more modern foreign film. Like I feel like Criterion does a great job with like sort of like classic foreign film, but Decantalog may be a good spot to grab like more modern, like within the last 10 years, I think is what most of this stuff has been made within the last 10 years. So yeah, Detention is great if you get a chance. And that's the kind of stuff that you dig, you know, Guillermo del Toro, Silent Hill, stuff like that. I highly recommend Detention. Great stuff. The next one is an Altered Innocence title. This is actually a movie that I saw years and years ago. I don't remember exactly when, probably at least 10 years ago, I would guess. Got the DVD from Netflix back in the day before streaming, and I remember really liking it, and it came out on Blu-ray, so I thought I would get it because it's in like a new cut, but it's called Wild Tigers I Have Known. It's directed by a guy named Cam Archer, and it was like a talked about Sundance film back in the day, and they just did this new edition comes with a new cut that includes a couple of the scenes that they had cut out after that. But the gist of it is 14-year-old Logan is in the middle of middle school, crushing on a boy, daydreaming of another self and waiting to see a mountain lion. I mean, that's a pretty apt, if a little generic description of it. It's a coming of age story. It's about being in love with someone older, you know. He's, I think, a freshman. I think that's what you are at 14. You're usually like a freshman, and he's in love with like a junior or senior guy. And, you know, he's just kind of trying to, you know, figure out life. The kid who is in this, Malcolm Stumpf, is really good, and Fairuza Balk actually plays his mom, and she's really good in it. And it's just like, you know, the story itself, I would say, is it feels like relatively original within the context of like, you know, coming of age stories, falling in love stories, that kind of thing. But I remember, this is just my memory, so I might watch this and feel differently about it, but I remember it being visually really interesting. I remember Cam Archer, you know, designing a lot of interesting shots, and it just being sort of like this very like visual sort of like mood piece that also, you know, is a coming of age film. So I've been wanting to watch it again, and it's not available. You have to track down the DVD or whatever, and I don't even know where you would get it now. But yeah, I don't know. I figured I'd pick it up. It's something that I've seen before a long time ago and really liked it, and wanted to see it again. So the next one, if my friend Frank is watching this, he is going to kill me for doing this, I'm sure. But the next one and the last of the partner films is the WNUF Halloween special. And I say that he's going to kill me for it because I actually didn't like this. I watched this last year and I didn't really like it that much. But the reason that I bought this was because I was really fascinated with the technical aspects of it, the way that they actually made it, and wanted to learn more about that. And it has a bunch of special features where it has like commentaries with the director, commentaries with cast and crew, on purpose, how we age WNUF. And there's just a lot of like little like spots about this sort of like the making of the film. And I actually have watched this with the director commentary. The director commentary is super interesting. The guy's a little crazy, but he gives you a lot of detail about how they did what they did and why they did what they did. And it's kind of funny and really interesting. And, you know, if you like this film, if you have seen this film and you like it and you have any interest in how they actually made it, you know, I highly recommend picking this up, or if somebody, you know, somebody who has it, borrowing it from them and listening to the commentary. So the breakdown on this one is originally broadcast live on October 31st, 1987. The WNUF Halloween special is a stunning expose of terrifying supernatural activity that unfolded at the infamous Weber House, the site of ghastly murders. Local television personality Frank Stewart leads a group of paranormal investigators, including Catholic exorcist Father Joseph Matheson and the prolific husband and wife team Louis and Claire Berger. Together, the experts explore the darkest corners of the supposedly haunted Weber House, trying to prove the existence of the demonic entities within. Did they find the horrific truth, or simply put superstitious rumors to rest? So if you don't know like what this is, basically this director, his name is Chris LaMartina. He and his crew kind of recreated the sort of like cheesy network television Halloween specials. And the idea was that they wanted to make this thing that seemed very authentic, and they would put it on VHS tapes. And the idea was that they would leave it in like Goodwill or places like that, you know, places where they had like used VHS stuff sitting around, and just let people discover it. And it kind of took off. It kind of became, you know, known amongst, you know, film lovers. And eventually, I think there was a DVD of this that came out years ago, like a very limited edition DVD. And then what's the label? TerrorVision. TerrorVision is the partner label that ended up putting this on Blu-ray. So it's on Blu-ray. But yeah, so I wanted to get it to watch all the sort of watch or listen to all the sort of technical stuff. And also because I feel like even though I didn't really like it the first time I watched it, I feel like it might be something that blossoms on me, you know, if I watch it more times. And also if I'm doing like Halloween stuff and I have people over, like it might be something good to put on in the background, people can watch it if they want. If they don't want, it's just on, as like video and noise, basically. So that makes sense. So next up, we're going to go into Vinegar Syndrome stuff. First up is Blood Games. I think this was in a Just the Discs. Like, if Vinegar Syndrome, if Kino Lorber, if Criterion, if any of those people are watching, like, Just the Discs is probably where I get, Just the Discs and Serial at Midnight are probably where I get my two, like, the people that I get my most suggestions from. So give those people things to suggest. I'm advocating for them. So yeah, this is Blood Games. He was talking about this in an older Vinegar Syndrome suggestions videos. He usually makes one every time that they do a sale. But the synopsis on this is, it all started as a simple game of softball. When a women's softball team wins a game against a group of rough talking and dirty playing men, they find themselves unwittingly involved in a new competition with much higher stakes: life and death. After being horribly attacked and assaulted by their male competitors, the women are forced to use both their wits and strength to escape their tormentors and avenge their teammates. However, they quickly find themselves trapped in a deadly cat and mouse chase through a nearby forest where violence lurks behind every tree. Yeah, Brian talked about this. I went and watched a trailer for it. It looked really cool. It's basically just your sort of like a classic, exploitation, genre film, women kicking ass, taking names. After I watched Alley Cat, which is a VSA release, I don't know, Blood Games seemed like a good thing to follow that up with. So looking forward to that. Next up is Incubus. The reason that I got this one, this is another one that Brian suggested, but the main reason that I got this is because John Cassavetes is in it. I'm a huge fan of John Cassavetes, both his directing and acting work, and he is an actor in this. And I have found that, oftentimes John had to take a lot of roles that maybe he didn't particularly want to do so that he could fund his films. And, the films themselves, some of them are great, some of them are not so great, some of them are kind of in the middle, but if they're not that great, he's at least good in them at the minimum. So that's the main reason that I got Incubus, wanted to give it a try. This is about a quiet New England town becomes the site of a grisly murder and assault, leaving a young man dead and his girlfriend in critical condition. Sam Cordell, head surgeon and medical examiner at the local hospital, senses something isn't quite normal about the attacker. But barely a day later, another woman is savagely assaulted and killed. With the realization that a maniac is on the loose, Sam, with the help of police chief Hank Walden and newspaper columnist Laura Kincaid, those are some great names, must unravel the mystery before additional murders occur, all the while unaware that Sam's own daughter, Jenny, might be next on the victim list. So, yeah. Incubus, I don't know if it's going to be any good, but it's got John Cassavetes in it, so I'm going to at least give it a shot. Next up, and the thing is like I'm not spending a lot of time on some of these because I just haven't watched them. Like a lot of these are going to be new watches for me. And I will say, a lot of times, like I've noticed that both Brian or both Just the Discs and Serial at Midnight will sort of like either, put the thing up here and, say, take a picture of it, or they'll like read off of it while it's up here. My fancy camera is not fancy enough to have autofocus on it. So I cannot do that. Obviously you see like, it's just blurry, so I have to read off of it myself. And, I'm trying to read the synopsises and stuff. 'Cause, want to make it a little bit more interesting than just like, I picked this up. However, I'm not going to read all the synopsises on these because this is the Tiger Claws VSA. there's 3 films in this. It's 2 discs, 3 films, and it's basically just a martial arts series. I weirdly have kind of started to get into martial arts a little bit more. I bought the Bruce Lee Criterion box set like sometime last year and have been sort of slowly working my way through that. And I've been watching some stuff on Tubi and, some other places, and just kind of like dipping my toes a little bit more into that genre. And Tiger Claws was one that was like, they were, the stock on this was getting low, and I thought I'd go ahead and grab it, and it is now out of stock and out of print. So I'm glad that I did grab it, when I did. So looking forward to this. There's 3 of them, and one of them, I heard that like, I think it's the first 2 are good, and the third one's kind of like, eh. But I feel like that's anytime you have 3 movies, you kind of run that risk. But yeah, Tiger Claws, looking forward to that. And keeping with the martial arts theme, one that is really famous, but I have somehow never seen yet, but really looking forward to getting into it since they now have a new edition of it, and that is Miami Connection. This is a pretty famous one. One is pretty famous for being one of the best bad movies ever done. Dragon Sound, the house band at Orlando's #1 nightclub, is made up of 5 orphans and university classmates. Dude, I can't even get through the description of this without laughing. All of whom are experts in Taekwondo. Of course they are. With a musical mission to share the importance of love and friendship. One of the band members, John, is engaged in a budding romance with Jane, sister of Jeff, a kingpin in one of Florida's toughest drug-pushing gangs. Did anybody else notice the fact that everybody's name is with a J? John, Jane, Jeff? Is that just me? A resentful rival band enlists the help of Jeff and his crew of violent motorcycle-riding thugs to exact vengeance for their bruised egos against Dragon Sound. The 5 best friends are soon forced to put their fighting skills to the ultimate test, not just to defend themselves, but their entire community from the iron grip held over it by these narcotics trafficking hooligans. So yeah, Miami Connection. It comes in like, they did this crazy edition of it. It's almost like a Russian doll. It's like you get this, which is like the like thick cardboard case. Then it comes in the slip case, and then it comes in the in the regular case. So yeah, it's the Russian doll of cases. But yeah, this is a super famous one. I feel like most of my friends who are sort of into bad movies have already seen it. I somehow have missed out on, every screening that I know of that, my friends have gone to. So I figured now is a good time to just go ahead and buckle down and watch it. So Miami Connection, looking forward to it. Another martial arts film, the infamous New York Ninja. If you have not heard the story of New York Ninja, it's pretty interesting, I think. Basically, basically Vinegar Syndrome bought the library or the catalog of this company. And within all these assets was all of the footage for this movie, New York Ninja, no script, no sound, just footage. And they decided that they were going to take that footage, edit it into a movie, basically write a script based on what they thought it was about, based on the visuals that they had, and hire people to come in and voice all of the characters. It's wild, dude. I did actually watch this, just recently watched it, and all of the special features. it's a great release. It's a great disc or 2-disc set if you can pick it up. I think the fancy one is sold out and they just have the standard one now. But like this is, I feel bad for you if you want the fancy one, but you can't get it because this is like super cool. The packaging on it, like everything about it is just, for a physical media person, it's just the way that you want things to be done. Comes with this huge book. I haven't dove into that yet, but looking forward to that. You've got the slipcover because everything has to have a slipcover, even though it comes in a case. Anyway, and that's the interior art, which I also love. The art on this is so great, and it's just this like interesting mixture of different artists' styles. But it's really cool. Let's see. John is just an average man working as a sound technician for a New York City news station until one day his pregnant wife is brutally murdered while witnessing the kidnapping of a young woman in broad daylight. Turning to the police for help, John soon learns that the city is overrun with crime and the police are too busy to help. Dressing as a white ninja, John takes to the streets as a sword-wielding vigilante hell-bent on cleaning up the streets of the city he once loved by ridding it of muggers, pickpockets, rapists, and gang members. However, in John's quest for justice, he soon finds himself the target of every criminal in the city, including a mysterious villain known only as the Plutonium Killer. Will John survive to become the hero that New York City so desperately needs? So basically what this thing is saying is that New York Ninja was the original Batman. He's the hero that Gotham City deserves. This is not a good movie. I'm just going to tell you up front, it's not a good movie. And that has nothing to do with Vinegar Syndrome's sort of like re-editing, rewriting of the script. Nothing to do with that. It was a bad movie whenever they made it. Like you can tell, it just is what it is. But it's goofy and it's fun. And if you like sort of like bad martial arts movies, this is it. Like this is probably not the worst of them, but like just a good, like fun, get a couple of people together, watch it, laugh at it, enjoy yourself. That kind of thing. It actually comes with a lot of special features on it. Commentary track with the redirector editor, Curtis Spieler, which I want to listen to. I haven't gotten to that yet. But re-enter the New York Ninja, an extended making of documentary with cast and crew. That was really interesting. I really enjoyed that. Redirecting New York Ninja, an interview with Curtis M. Spieler. Also good. Music of New York Ninja, interviews with the members of Voyager. That was really cool because Voyager is sort of like, if you're into like John Carpenter as a musician, which I would assume you'd probably be into John Carpenter as a director if you're into him as a musician, or you're into sort of like space wave, like 80s, sci-fi horror kind of sounds. The interview with Voyager, I think, is really interesting, and their music is really good. Locations Unmasked, revisiting the locations of New York Ninja with Michael Gingold. Deleted scenes with commentary. I haven't watched that. B-roll and outtake montage. I haven't watched that. Original sizzle reel VHS, theatrical trailer, and still gallery. So there's some good special features on this. Again, it's not a good movie, but it's a great movie for what it is. And that's so satisfying. The packaging is just... And speaking of packaging, the next one is another one that I went ahead and watched, and that is Cloak and Dagger. This is the third VSU release, and it also has the same type of like magnetic packaging. So beautiful. I love the cover art. It's basically like the there's a name for it, but it's the side of arcade games. There's a specific name for that art, but I just don't remember what it is. And it's in that style, and the interior or the DVD or the Blu-ray itself is in sort of like a mock-up, Atari style slipcover with that even has like a little price tag. So that's all really cool. 4K. Davey Osborne is an average 11-year-old boy with an overactive imagination. He spends his days playing video games and pretending to be a spy with his imaginary father figure, Jack Flack, a substitute for his real father who is struggling with the recent death of Davey's mother. However, fantasy becomes reality for Davey after he witnesses the murder of an FBI agent who, in his dying breath, gives Davey a mysterious video game cartridge called Cloak and Dagger, which in actuality contains top-secret government information. With the help of his younger friend Kim, the tech-savvy Morris, and even a little help from his fictional secret agent mentor, Davey must stay one step ahead of pursuers as he tries to survive a real-life game of espionage in the streets of San Antonio, Texas. So, like I said, I watched this. I loved it. I had never seen it before. It was a movie that I always wanted to watch when I was a kid, but my parents never would let me. It is a PG film, but this was released the same year as Temple of Doom. So that if it would have been released the next year, it would have been PG-13. So I am seriously thinking about doing a video on this at some point in time. 'Cause yeah, I loved it. There's a lot of cool special features on it. I really want to listen to the commentary track with the writer, Tom Holland, who is not the guy who plays Spider-Man. But there's a lot of cool featurettes on this. So if 80s stuff is your jam, or just cool, funny movies, this is it. This ended up being far exceeding my expectations. I was a little worried that it was going to just be okay. I knew it wasn't going to be bad, but I was a little worried that it was going to be just okay. And it ended up being great, and I love it. So, Cloak and Dagger. And last but not least, something that they were offering during this sale, this halfway to Black Friday sale, and they kept sending out, you could pre-order it, and they kept sending out these emails saying, like, if you want it, you better buy it because we're going to sell out of it. We're definitely going to sell out of it. We know we're going to sell out of it. And I kept thinking, like, okay, they're trying to make sure that they sell as many of these as possible. And when the sale started, I was like, should I get this? Should I grab it? And then if it does go, because if it does go out of print, if they sell out and it goes out of print, it's going to be going for like triple on eBay, what you would buy it from Vinegar Syndrome from. So I just decided to take a dive and grab it. And that is Thriller. I'm sure by that description, if you know anything about Vinegar Syndrome's titles, you would probably already guessed that it's Thriller. I have never seen this before. It's semi-legendary from what I understand amongst sort of like the grindhouse exploitation set. It was a big influence on Quentin Tarantino for Kill Bill. Kill Bill is my favorite Tarantino film, and when I say Kill Bill, I'm talking about both of those films. That is my favorite Tarantino thing, and I really wanted to see one of the movies that really highly influenced that. So with this, you're not only getting Thriller, but you're also getting They Call Her One Eye, which is Thriller is a Swedish film, and you're getting the Swedish theatrical version of it, and then They Call Her One Eye is the US release version. So two different versions of the same film. And let's get a little synopsis action here. Rendered mute after being sexually assaulted as a youth, Madeline lives an isolated existence in her parents' farmhouse. Missing the bus on her way to town one day, Madeline accepts a lift from a wealthy and charming stranger named Tony. What starts off as an innocent meeting soon takes a nightmarish turn when Madeline learns that Tony is really a sadistic pimp on the make, who soon enslaves her into his prostitution racket by forcing her to become dependent on heroin. After refusing to service a client, Tony punishes Madeline by violently blinding her in one eye, forcing her to wear an eye patch. Despite her limited means, Madeline secretly saves money to undergo karate and weapons training behind Tony's back. Okay. Once she reaches lethal proficiency, Madeline embarks on a bloody road to revenge against her captors. So, yeah, I mean, you know, you gotta love the sort of like ridiculousness of, you know, some of this stuff. So, I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a great set. I have no idea whether it'll be good or bad, but you know, a lot of people have been talking this up, so I'm looking forward to seeing it. All right, that is it for Vinegar Syndrome. That's it for the halfway to Black Friday sale. You know, hopefully I'll be able to watch some more of this stuff and be able to make videos about it in the future. And we'll be back soon. I obviously really don't know how to end this video. So if you got anything, let me know down in the comments below. You can like, subscribe, all that stuff, and I will see you in the next one.